You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WMDX Daily News Roundup for Mad Radio 92.7 FM and 1580 AM in Madison.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. Today's the day. New tariffs are in effect on goods coming from China. President Donald Trump has added tariffs on imported goods from every country, but China has been his biggest target. The back and forth had been escalating, and after China's retaliatory tariffs, Trump put out an even bigger threat. Goods from China now face up to 104% tax when they enter the United States. The Chinese Ministry of Commerce says they'll have to take what they call countermeasures. President Donald Trump told reporters he has no plans to postpone these tariffs, even as markets all over the world react to the uncertainty and people lose thousands in their accounts. Now, generally, companies can't or won't absorb these costs, and they have to raise their prices. That means all kinds of things you buy will get more expensive. Inclusive growth economist Emily Wee.
So the average family, whether in Wisconsin or elsewhere in the country, can expect to pay about $3,800 more per year because of Trump's tariffs. That's equivalent to a 2.3% increase in inflation that we expect to see as a bump up in prices.
Part of the problem here is that even items made in the USA often have parts or ingredients or packaging made in other countries. Meanwhile, a Dane County meat seller is closing and dozens of people will lose their jobs. Filings with the Department of Workforce Development show Midwest Perishables Incorporated will shut their doors by April 16th. They sell wholesale specialty meats to retailers. They're over off Stoughton Road. Their parent company, based in Chicago, also closed, and the paperwork shows they couldn't get lines of credit to continue the business a few more months. Some people have already been laid off. In total, 50 will be out of work. The man who led the investigation into the 2020 election in Wisconsin has agreed to surrender his law license. Michael Gableman is a former justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Amid unfounded allegations of widespread election fraud in 2020, Assembly Speaker Robin Vos hired Gableman to conduct an investigation. That investigation found no evidence of widespread fraud. But it did spark lawsuits and concern about taxpayer waste. Speaker Robin Vos fired Gableman in 2022, calling him an embarrassment. A report from the Office of Lawyer Regulation shows Gableman had violated state rules at least 10 times. That ranges from lying to disrespecting a judge. He's also faced lawsuits for not properly keeping records. Now, Gableman has agreed to have his license suspended for 3 years. That's according to the Associated Press. Ironically, it's the Wisconsin Supreme Court, the body he once served on, that will have to approve that agreement. The investigation cost Wisconsin taxpayers $2.3 million. Meanwhile, have you started your taxes yet? Well, there's an improvement this year that could make it easier to do it for free. The Wisconsin Department of Revenue says now people can use the IRS direct file system to file both your federal and state tax returns. They'll even import your W-2s and 1099s for you. Tax day is April 15th. And could Wisconsin get its first national park? Republican Congressman Tom Tiffany is pushing for it by reintroducing a new bill. Brittany Merlot reports.
Now, the bill was originally proposed last summer, but it was never seriously considered amid pushback from the Bayfield community. The original bill also featured very little detail on important issues like road improvement projects, housing needs, or the potential effects that increased tourism could have on the area.
I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. You're listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
The Bucks win again. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucks beat the Timberwolves 110-103. Despite being down 24 points in the fourth quarter, the fans stayed and cheered the team to a win at Fiserv Forum. Doc Rivers.
It was huge. They could have left. I mean, really, the way the game was going, and they hung in there with us, and then they could smell the blood in the water as well. This is why you love home games.
Baseball, top of the seventh inning, Brewers up 4-1. Bryce Terang at the plate on FanDuel, Wisconsin.
Fly ball, Right center. Doyle is back. He is looking, and it's gone for Terang. Home run number 3, and that hitting streak stays alive. 11 games now for Bryce.
The Brewers beat the Rockies 7-1. The 25-year-old Terang's home run sailing 444 feet, the longest of his career.
Dude, I'm getting older. That's just how it is. I'm starting to get the man strength.
That's Bryce Terang with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Want to feel old? Eminem is a grandfather. The rapper's daughter, Haley Jade Scott, announced on Instagram that she gave birth to a son named Elliot. And to honor her famous father, the baby now shares a middle name with his grandfather. No, it's not Elliot Eminem, it's Elliot Marshall. Eminem's real name is Marshall Mathers. That might put a little pressure on the boy to come up with some sick beats. The Yellowstone series is about to give birth to a new spin-off. With the show's popular 1923 prequel starring Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren now concluded after its season 2 finale last week, the franchise is launching a new prequel. Plot lines for 1944 are being kept under wraps for the moment, but some sources say the show will explore how World War II affects the Duttons. Star of 1923 Brandon Sklenar takes over Dutton Ranch at the end of 1923 and says he is open to appearing in 1944. Russell Brand is already in trouble for sexual assault charges, but things are about to get worse. Warner Brothers Studios has agreed to turn over footage and outtakes from the set of Arthur in 2011. The studio has made it clear where they stand after being sued along with Brand in 2023 by an extra from the film who said the actor exposed himself to multiple people and assaulted her. What a guy. HBO is giddy over the ratings for the season finale of White Lotus Season 3. The network says 6.2 million viewers tuned in and were treated to a higher body count than we've seen in previous seasons of the show. That shattered the past record for viewers of the show, which was the previous week's 4.8 million viewers. I think it's time for me to check out Season 3. What better game than Monopoly to create a bidding war? There was a competition by studios over a competition series based on the board game, and Netflix is the winner. Variety reports the show is being described as a large-scale social experiment contest that will force contestants to form alliances and betray their competitors. They must walk the line between capitalism and chaos in a cutthroat race to own it all. I think I hate it already. Monopoly debuted in 1935, courtesy of Parker Brothers, and has since sold about 275 million copies worldwide. First, it was people dancing and singing while watching Wicked in theaters that annoyed theatergoers. Now, it's teenage boys who are clapping and cheering during the record-breaking Minecraft movie. In some ways, this is worse than Wicked, because parents who take their kids have to witness this after probably not wanting to set foot in a theater to see Minecraft in the first place. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We could see a few scattered showers or sprinkles later today, tonight, into tomorrow, and there may even be a snowflake or two mixed in at some point. Today's high in the upper 40s. Tonight, we're going to drop down into the low to mid-30s. Tomorrow, same thing, upper 40s. We will warm back up into the 60s by the weekend. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Current temp now 37.
That's your WMDX Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at mad.radio. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.